We've actually just got some questions that you guys typed in as you signed up.
And normally when we do this, it's guaranteed that if we pick a question from here, the person isn't here. So I'm actually really curious to see if we can keep batting 100% average on that. If you are actually here and we read this out, like I'm going to throw some random stuff at you because I'll be so damn pleased.
Or you could just leave.
Oh yeah, then we'll have a good average. Cool, fantastic.
All right, cool. Is Nicholas Hares around? Yes, he's here.
I am going to throw some shit at him. Ask the question.
All right, cool. All right, Graham, Nicholas writes, as more people move to portable and internet-based platforms, how do you see high-end desktop market progressing? What is Intel's strategy for this change, and how will it affect high-end desktop users?
And that's a brilliant question because, if you look at market statistics, mobility is increasing, and especially Australia, quite dramatically. But desktop is not shrinking. And what's happening with desktop is that it's maybe moving out of mainstream. It's still growing, right? But it's becoming more niche. So whether it be gaming or high performance workstation or HTC and all this sort of stuff, that's where desktop is finding its niches in these special categories. And we're designing processes around those form factors. So you'll see a greater range of low power desktop processors to go into HTC and that type of thing. And high performance has been on the top of agenda since the beginning of time. But with the i7s and moving into next year with the i7s, you'll see some good flexibility there.
It's not just processor speed that you're focusing on, is it? Because you've got Lightpeak, isn't it, that's coming?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's about the balanced design. So everyone thinks of Intel being a processor manufacturer, and we are a processor manufacturer, but we look at the whole platform design. If you think of what we've been involved with from a connectivity point of view, from the old days of Ethernet and PCI Express. So what's next? How do we actually unleash the full potential of these new generation architectures without throttling them through I/O?
Yeah, how do you get rid of all the bottlenecks?
Yeah, now research labs have been working quite hard on grafting optics onto electrical circuits. So out of the chipset you'll have optics, and the advantage of that is obviously speed, throughput and lower latency, but also distance. So you may have a bus system that stretches 30 or 100 meters at 10 gigabits a second.
But this is like a complete rebuilding of the way every bit of hardware talks to every other bit of hardware, isn't it?
Absolutely. So it's not like USB is just USB 3 is a faster USB 2, right? There's nothing really revolutionary in that except it's faster, right? But this is about a universal bus that could route USB 3 or PCI Express, anything.
Is there any issue when you have stuff like that which completely rebuilds architectures of then having to sell it to other manufacturers? In the same way, you've got that whole thing of people don't want electric cars because it's going to put a whole lot of people out of business. Is there any kind of like wall you'd butt up against in pretty much rewriting the way computers talk to hardware?
Well, you've only got to look at our history, right? In terms of we have designed many I/O standards, USB being one of them. We innovated USB. And the reason USB became successful is because it was royalty-free. And in contrast to 1394, Firewire, I think that's why USB excelled. And as soon as USB 2 came out at a higher or comparable speed to Firewire, because it was royalty-free, it took off. So I'm not sure of our strategy in terms of licensing Lightpeak. I haven't heard of anything in that direction. But if it's how our history's gone, we've been giving technology to the open.
Well, it's like DDR3 support, for example. Everyone was on DDR2, no one was going to shift, and then Intel forced it into their chipsets, and then suddenly you got DDR3 everywhere.
And it's
same price.
Well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
well, let's see if are there any further questions for Graham?
Cool. Well, I've actually got one last one here on the sheet.
Oh, I think we do.
We do?
Yeah.
It's our old friend Super Geek. Give that man a microphone, but not for too long.
What is the theoretically speed of Lightpeak if you're able to tell us
It's
that
10
you've achieved.
gigabits per second.
It's for Graham.
10 yeah, you're right, 10 gigabits a second, but it's, we've actually stated that it's scalable to 100 gigabits a second. So we're working on, ramping it out, but just getting it out there is the big springboard to accelerate the throughput.
All right.
And I've got one last
One last.
question from Julius Caesar.
I was really hoping you weren't going to choose that question.
Time machine, anyone?
Anyone sign up under the name Julius Caesar? Anyone here cross the River Tiber recently? Rubicon? No.
That's all right.
No,
All right.
cool, all right.
That's all right. There's still a question here. All right, so Graham, what's next after quad core? Double quad core? Triple quad core? Or quad core? Perhaps super tiny, weeny little bunny quad core?
Yeah,
I think
well,
that Julius Caesar, he really thinks he's funny, doesn't he? Yeah.
we talked about processors going to 10 gigahertz, right, which we've stopped doing, and part of the formula of getting performance per watt is to scale out with more cores. So many cores is a strategy.
So they'll be breeding like rabbits.
With your 980X,
Super
you've
bunny-
got 6
bunny.
cores now, right?
Bunny,
Yep. And that's only going to extend. I'm not going to share how fast it's going to go, but that is going to extend. And we also, who's heard of Larrabee?
No one. Yeah, barely
No?
anyone.
Okay, a few of them.
They're all
Right,
very
so
shy. Yeah.
that was the architecture we've been working on for probably 4 years. We announced last year that we wouldn't continue to design into high performance graphics cards, but we're applying those same concepts in the high performance computing world. And part of that philosophy is to actually have a many core situation. So we may have these hybrid processors in the future which has general purpose cores, which we're seeing today, but a lot more what we're calling throughput cores for doing special.
So backups for special functions.
Yeah, so like what a
So you'll
GPU does, right? But we're looking at similar sort of cores, but more optimized towards the x86 architecture.